What is up, my crew? This is CLC here with a new video that is sort of straying away from any hacking stuff, anything at all, none of that. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna have a little rant and just talk about a game that I thought I would never talk about on this channel because it's sort of a dried out, saturated topic, saturated game. I feel like talking about it would be kind of pointless. That game is Pokemon Go. And before I start getting into it, I just want to tell you a little story. It's not going to be long. I just want to just make it quick. The other day, I had to drop off a letter at my local post office that's really just down the street from my house. When I was in my car, I got curious and opened up my Pokemon Go app just to see what was nearby. There it was, a Dratini at the post office, because the post office was a Pokestop. I literally floored it to the post office, even though it was only like literally like 1 or 2 minutes away. I got there in like 2 seconds. I found it in the parking lot, pretty convenient. When I encountered it and got in the big thing where I had the Pokeball out, I used a raspberry because that helps it actually capture it apparently, and I sent out my Ultra Ball. Now it was only 98 CP, but and 98 CP is pretty low. But you know what? Just on the safe side, because I want the Dratini, because I need it for my Dratini that I have now, which is apparently my strongest guy in my team. I threw the Ultra Ball by curving it, and then I ended up getting a great on it, which is good. It shakes twice, I got really excited, and then bam, it pops out. And then immediately runs away. Now, after looking on it, I was mad, but I wasn't really too mad. It was kind of odd. But then I realized I didn't get the Pokestop because I was so excited about getting the Dratini. I had to get the freaking. I was so excited about getting the Dratini, I didn't care about the Pokestop because I had like a ton of stuff anyway. But you know what? I got it for the experience. I spun it. Nothing happened. I had no clue what happened. So I checked my bag. My bag wasn't full. Tried spinning it again. Nothing happened. I thought it was a glitch where that can happen with the Pokestop. You spin it, and it has to try again later, but didn't come up. So what I did was I closed out of the app, restarted it, tried spinning it again. Nothing. So what's the problem? What I did was I looked it up online, and I found out that something happened to me called softband. Basically, when you're softband, you can't get Pokestops. If you find a Pokemon, you throw a Pokeball at it, it busts out immediately. Can't battle gyms and all that fun stuff. But the question is, how did that happen? How did I get banned? Well, here's the thing. I forgot to mention one thing in the story. For a brief second while I was driving, I noticed my character wasn't moving. And apparently, my character jumped from my house to the post office. The game thought I teleported, and I cheated. Now, that's a thing that can be explained later, but the game thought I cheated. And because of this, I lost the closest Dratini I could ever find. The closest in the sense that the other closest would be about, let's see, 20, 30 minutes away. And if I want to go try and find a quote-unquote nest, I would have to drive an hour from where I am. That's just garbage. And speaking of garbage, today's video will be discussing Niantic and Pokemon Go. That was a horrible segue, but you know what? It's just something that people have been talking about. It's a very saturated topic. Everyone's talking about it, but you know what? I want to throw my hat into it too, because with me, I've grown up with this game since, the beginning. I literally was born before the games even were made. So you know what? I want to talk about this because this game's pretty fun, but I want to just explain what the problem is with it. Three things will be discussed. Niantic's cracking down on cheaters. Well, quotations around cheaters, so air quotes right there. The unfairness of the game, and the big one that most, if not all, people are talking about, Generation 2. The first thing I want to discuss would obviously be the first thing I said before, was cheaters. Well, the thing is, not really cheaters, specifically people who use apps that can locate certain Pokemon in the area. Like, basically, apps like Pokevision and Pokemap, which basically shows you on a map where the Pokemon is. To an certain, not even a certain extent, I don't see how this is cheating. When the games first came out, this nearby system, not even called the nearby system at that time, it was called the sighting system. It was more of like maybe this Pokemon will be right next to you, or maybe this Pokemon will be across town. How can anyone actually figure that out? And don't give me that footprint system excuse, because that was broken when the first games came out. Then came applications, like I said, Pokevision, Pokemap, all that stuff, where it shows you where the Pokemon is in the game. And to be honest, I used it personally, and I thought it was a joke. But what I did was I used it, and the Pokevision actually showed me that there was a squirrel down my street. I didn't believe, but just in case, I got in my house and walked down there, and I found the Squirtle and caught it, and I got really excited because that was really cool. I don't see that as cheating. I see that as more of an easier and more beneficial way of finding a Pokemon. Yeah, I mean, there's the nearby system, but that's kind of a hate and miss sometimes. But what about the sightings? I mean, like I said before, it's completely random. Apps like Pokemon or similar app or Pokevision are more like supplements and useful tools rather than cheating devices. However, there are things that would be considered cheating. Poke Sniper, GPS spoofing, and joystick hacks. What exactly is that? GPS spoofing is obviously what it is. You use an app that tricks your phone, the game, into thinking that you're somewhere in the world. Like, let's say I'm in New York City, but I don't want to be there. I want to go to London, United Kingdom, somewhere like that. You can do that. And then the joystick hack is basically what it is. You know, I use a joystick when you play a game. Basically, you're doing that with your game. You can move your character and do whatever the heck you want to do with the game with your character. And Poke Sniper is literally an app where someone or something could actually register a Pokemon. Like, you know, let's say a Dragonite. There's a Dragonite at this longitude and latitude. You copy it, paste it in your Poke Sniper, and your character will go to that spot, find that Pokemon. But is it really a big deal? That's what I want. That's a big thing. Like people say, like, "Oh, that's unfair. That's cheating." Da, da, da. But is it really a big deal? Honestly, out of these three, Poke Sniper is the only one that I have regret with. Kind of. Is it unfair to find crazy strong Pokemon? Like the thing is with Poke Sniper is that it will literally tell you there's 100% IV Lapras over here. That's kind of unfair. That's definitely unfair. But is it unfair to use it to catch Pokemon that are extremely hard to find, like Lapras and Chansey? Truth? Absolutely not. Look, when I think of cheating or hacking, I'm thinking of people who legitimately break into the game to get Pokemon that no one in the world can get. I'm not saying someone from America can get a Mr. Mime or someone from Japan can get a Kangaskhan. No, I'm not saying. I'm saying no one in the world can get. For example, the legendary Pokemon like Mewtwo, Mew, all those Pokemon. That's the only reason that if I'm trying to find people do that, and if Niantic bans them, permanent bans them, that's fine. That's how I feel like banning should be. But what about the people who use GPS spoof? They can't get around as well as others. Like, let's say, for example, someone is in a wheelchair and can't move as well as others. All right, you can't. You gotta, or someone who legitimately cannot move, who can't get out of bed, who can't do anything. Like, I'm not in the sense of laziness, but like has an illness where they can't get out of bed. I feel like GPS spoofing that would be fair in that kind of sense. What about people who live in areas where it's too cold to go out and walk around? The thing is that the latter question is sort of for my personal life because my friends would love to go out and play the game at the beach at night in the northeastern part of the United States. The temperature at the beach at night in that part of the world is not fun, especially with wind chills reaching the teens and sometimes in the negatives. But at least I got my cleffa. All right, that's the best part. All right, but seriously, like I'm not gonna risk a frostbite getting a Mechacarp. Believe me, that I can. You know, I'd rather risk my own safety than getting a freaking digital creature because I feel like my safety is more important. But seriously, and I'm sorry if it pisses people off, but I feel like GPS spoofing and joysticks walking around and I don't joystick hacks are totally fine. And I don't know, Santa Monica Pier. That's a big thing, all right? And get rid of the teleport ban because do I have to repeat myself in my story? Because I'm already triggered enough because it is. Now, why did I say Santa Monica Pier? It's a place where you can get crazy good Pokemon. Like I said, I live in an area where it's lucky if you find a freaking, oh, I don't know, a Growlithe, where places in another part of the country can find them no problem. That's total garbage right there. And not only that, but the Pokestops. There's a ton of Pokestops in areas like New York City, London, Tokyo, Sydney, Australia, Santa Monica Pier. All right, because I see a lot of people saying that like that place is the best place to get Pokemon. And you know what? They're not wrong because I see a lot of people getting good stuff. Like someone got an Amistar, someone got an Aerodactyl. I heard someone got a Dragonite there one time. Well, the thing is that that's what makes the game unfair in a way, which goes into my next point. Pokemon Go is completely unfair. The thing is, it's probably a given when the game first came out. You see, I just said it before. If you live in a city, you probably have a Pokestop in your house or apartment or every building in your on your street or every building in that freaking city or that area has a Pokestop. Anything and everything can be a Pokemon. The dog walking down the street can be a Pokestop. All right, you better catch little Jub Joe because he probably has that 5K you're looking for or 10K. I don't know. Now, if you live in a suburban area where it's a nice little town, very calm, well, you probably have a Pokestop that's like a mile away. I understand the game is called Pokemon Go, but that's kind of ridiculous. And not only that, there's other places where in order to get a Pokestop, you'll probably have to drive like, oh, I don't know, like freaking 12, like 10 miles just to find it. I'm not kidding when I say it. There are places definitely like that. I'd rather walk down the street instead of across the state, or 20, 30 minutes to an area full of Pokestops and rare Pokemon. The thing is that no one, some people did believe, some people agree with me, some people were kind of they weren't like too sure. So what I did was I did this last year before my semester of college started. I conducted a little experiment. There's something that I forgot to mention that is unfair. All right, it's completely, well, it's cheating, hacking in a way that I kind of left out because it's sort of a given. Something that I use to prove people right that the game is unfair. It's something called a bot. It's a program on your computer that plays the game for you. And like I said, it was also proof to prove the game was unfair. Now, I don't condone bots. I don't condone any of that. But it was a way of showing that, hey, look, the game's unfair. You should do something about it. So what I did was I made two accounts for the game, and I put them both in two different parts of the country. I didn't put them in two different parts of the world because I feel like those would have been like different Pokemon to find. Like this guy has Tauros, this guy's Mr. Mime, and it would have been unfair. So I put it in my own country. One in New York City because that's a big area that people love, and one in my hometown. And they stayed there for about a day. The one in my town did pretty okay and apparently got up to level 7, which is pretty good, which isn't bad. But what about the one in New York City? You know, he did all right too. He hit level 15. Yeah, the game's fair, right? You see, that's about as realistic as Vince McMahon's dream of Roman Reigns not being booed and everyone loving him. Like, what the heck? Well, the thing is, I did hear that Niantic is actually working on increasing the number of Pokestops, of rare Pokemon spawns, and then putting them in areas where there's a severe lack of them. That's really good. That's actually a really nice thing. I think they're using another game they made called Ingress, which is really nice. At least Niantic is doing something about the problem, which is good. But the thing is that they don't communicate well. They don't really say anything. They just put out updates saying, "Oh, minor text fixes." But that's the one thing that that's sort of something that I want to go into my next topic with. And it's something that most Pokemon Go YouTubers are talking about. Niantic, there's a really big question a lot of people have been wondering, and they have been asking every single time you upload a new update on Twitter, Facebook, somewhere, I don't know. The big question everyone says is, where is Gen 2? Niantic promised us there was going to be a big update back in December, and the hype for Gen 2 was strong. And we got only 8 out of 100 new Pokemon. Only 8% of the next generation came out. I mean, to a certain extent, that's considered a good thing. And it gets you walking, because you don't want to get Gen 2, you only came in eggs. No, it's good. Gets you out walking, getting that in weather that can only be described as extremely cold, which I like to call nope weather. Now, if the entirety of Gen 2 came out, I think that I would risk Frostbite for a Tyranitar, because Tyranitar has my favorite Pokemon, but no, that didn't happen. Now, I heard there was an interesting rumor that more Gen 2 Pokemon are coming out, which is really good. Espeon and Umbreon. 2 more Gen 2 Pokemon will be available around Valentine's Day. 2. So we're getting 2% more Pokemon added. So that's going to be a total of 10. So I came up with 2 theories. Either they're going to release the rest of Gen 2 every summer, or every generation every summer, making it so that at a time the thing is, that's which is just in case people don't go out in the cold and they'll freeze to death. Now, my calculations, if they do that with every generation, at its earliest for every generation to be revealed, it will be 2022. Or my second theory, where each gen will get introduced a little at a time every few months. So by the time every generation is released, at the earliest it will be, well, here's the thing, by the time they do that, my tombstone when I'm dead, it will read, waiting for Gen 5. That's what's gonna happen. But the thing is, I feel like the game will be dead before even me. So just to let you know, if they do that, the games will be dead before me. Look, I think that the real problem with this is Niantic is very vague about what comes out with any info, especially updates. Now, the some updates they come out with are not bad. They have language supports, they update little things with the game, but the one thing that pisses people off is they always have something called minor text fixes. But the thing is that the text fixes are much more than that. How much more? Well, the thing is that it's not much. Yeah, there's really not much. I mean, except for one thing. Oh, I don't know. The data for all of Gen 2, new moves and items that are related to Gen 2, even the freaking models are in the game. So this is what's up. Besides adding Pokestops, Niantic has its figures on the trigger, and the bullet is Gen 2. They are ready to fire that bullet. The question is, why are they not doing it? And a lot of people are saying, there are 2 things I also heard as well. One was from a guy called Trainer Tips talking about how there was a new game coming out, a new phone game coming out called Pokémon Duel. And Pokémon Duel is this very interesting figure board game, which I find interesting. I never played it, but it looks fun for some people. I wouldn't pick it up for myself, but it's something that, I might try for like a day and maybe get rid of it. But a game made not by Niantic, but from the actual Pokemon company. And I think that the reason why Niantic didn't release it yet was because if Niantic were to release Gen 2, there would probably be, I'm guessing, more money going to Niantic rather than the people who actually created the Pokemon franchise itself. So I think the Pokemon company is taking away Niantic's gun that has Gen 2 bullet inside of it, saying, don't fire it yet, we need the money. Which I can understand. It's a business. Business, it's what's best for business in the sense of, that money is the big deal. Now, the other one is basically a big one that I'm kind of hoping is not true, and I apologize for my language. I'm sorry if it offends you if I say this, but it's more of a sense of, the theory is Niantic doesn't give a They literally think that they literally are teasing us. It's like holding a carrot in front of a horse's nose, saying that we have this in front of you, try and grab it. You can't get it. They're teasing you with it. You know what? They're just laughing it up, probably smoking blunts and burning money with their thing. But that's the way I see it. As people see it, all right? That's what? But those are just theories. All right. I'm not saying that's legitimately what's gonna happen. They're theories. The thing is, unless there's some serious problem as to why Gen 2 is not out yet, like maybe there's a glitch they gotta fix. Maybe they want to add more things like, oh, maybe trading, battling. If they are editing doing that, then I would be like, dude, take your time because trading battling is something I wanted. But you know what? If they want to work on that and that's what they're working on, okay, do it. But besides that, if they're not doing that, all they have to do is pull that trigger. Look, Niantic, I'm not asking for much. We need communication. We need you to say something. That's the one thing that bothers me personally as well. Is I hate when someone, either a girl or a guy, if I'm talking to them and they don't communicate with me, I get really pissed off because it shows me that you don't care and you're wasting my time. If they literally just said, screw you, Gen 2 is never coming out, at least that you said so. But the thing is, they're not going to say that. But it's just an idea of letting your fan base know. You, Niantic, being so vague and leaving most of the people who enjoy your game in the dark, they will leave. And, no, not even they will leave. They have left. All right, I'll tell you this right now. I had friends in the summer, coworkers, and we would play the game a lot. I haven't gotten a lot of updates from them in a long time because I feel like school and other things got in the way of it. And you know what? That happens. They left. I stayed because I literally grew up on this game. I grew up on Pokemon. I not making a joke. I'm not saying like it. I'm not trying to be like everyone else, but it was one of my very first video games that I ever picked up and owned as and called it my own. Now, Niantic, if you are not letting anyone know about this, your fan base will either leave or they will harass you until your end of time wondering where the heck is this new generation. Just saying. Look, in general, here's what I have to say about this. This is the whole sum up of this video. To Niantic, I know it might piss people off, and you know what? I really don't care. Remove the teleporting ban and let the people use GPS spoofing and joystick. Because you know what? People will, no matter what, people will hack that game, or not hack it, but people will use that. No matter how strong you are, people will still make it so that it will still work. And I can name one certain YouTuber who uses it a lot, doesn't get banned at all, apparently. The other thing, add more Pokéstops and more Pokemon spawns. That's something that, they're probably doing now, but you know what? Just let you know. And the last thing is please communicate more with your fans. Look, I already said this before. I love this game. Pokemon Yellow was my very first game that I remember playing. The funny thing is I still have it in my room and I still play it occasionally. And now with Pokemon Moon, I still enjoy it. That's the funny thing is that, like, I'm not a Gen 1er. I'm not dedicated to just Gen 1. I know all gens. I know every single generation of Pokemon. I know who's good and who's bad. Though with Pokemon Go, it kind of doesn't matter now, does it? Apparently, a Speedrill Sludge Bomb is stronger than a Beedrill's Poison Jab, which is actually completely BS if you actually play the real games. You have no idea, Niantic, how much people love this game. This is something we've literally dreamed of since we first played Pokemon. We've dreamed of having a Pokemon at our side. We've dreamed of Pokemon in the real world. Niantic, don't kill this game. It's been a great way for me to make friends and talk to people that I thought I could never talk to. It was great for me to communicate with my coworkers because I never really communicated with them as much as I do now. And I do miss them dearly. But you know what? That's another story because that's the end of this video. In general, Niantic, you have to listen to your fans. You have to listen to what they have to say. There's nothing loud. No matter how strong you may be, the people's voice will always be stronger than you think. And that's the end of this video. So please be sure to like the video if you agree with anything I said. If you want to hear about any other topics or opinions that I have about a certain current event or just anything in general, or just want to hear Fat Guy be cringy and awkward and have very terrible diction, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And apparently there's a bell notification or something that you have to click so that way you get notifications from my channel, which is kind of weird. Now the thing is that people have their opinions and people want to express their opinions. Now, with me, I'm very tolerant to things, very, very, very tolerant to things, unless you're talking about certain things with Gen 7, Ash Greninja, and Theta Emerald. But other than that, you have your opinion, you feel like you need to say something, that's totally fine. You can write in the comments below, and you know what? I will actually read them. I know people always say, don't read the comments, but me, I kind of read them. And you know what? Sometimes I have either a nice little laugh, or I might make fun of you. And we all make fun of you. Bah, I'm just kidding. We don't make fun of you sometimes. But seriously, all right? If you want to hear anything new from me, because I'm starting to stray away from Theta Emerald, or I'm trying to move on to bigger, better things, and definitely non-Pokemon related topics. I want to get into more other things, and possibly some more Let's Plays and reviews of things. All right, so like I said, subscribe, like the video, and comment. All right, until next time, my Olympians, I will see you later.